So welcome everyone tonight to the Walkthru the Catalog. Just as a simple reminder, we're not meaning to treat, cure, diagnose anything. You can see the disclaimers and go from there. So tonight we're going to talk about lipotropic, kind of cool. And you can see the picture of the heart there. Lipotropic factors are natural emulsifiers which disperse fat into fine particles so they flow freely. It seems a lot, and you're going to see a lot of duplicate with lecithin. Very, very similar, but there are some differences that we're going to go over. So again, the main goal of the lipotropic is to emulsify, break up those fats, because our fats are just that. They do not break down in water. So we got to break it down so it'll get through, do what it needs to do, and get out, because we don't want fats. A diet low in lipotropic and high in fat upsets the balance, eventually leading to atherosclerosis, which I've been writing a lot about lately, due to these raised homocysteine levels. Brian's going to tell you a little bit more about homocysteine in a little bit, but the body actually produces, just like lecithin, it actually produces its own lipotropic factors when it has access to the right substances. The substances such as choline, inositol, betaine, butane, folic acid, and B vitamins. So you're like, what is this good for? Well, it's helpful or if you want to keep your heart healthy. You want to reduce your risk of heart attack or stroke. Again, heart attack, it's in the heart, stroke is brain. You want healthy arteries and veins. So basically that's pretty much everything that our blood and our oxygen is flowing through. It feeds many, many areas within the body, ties into the immune system, ties into the lymphatic system, and so on. So if you want unclogged arteries, want a fat-free liver, and again, we'll touch a little bit more on this in a minute, have narrowed arteries, want normal clot factors, want safer fat metabolism, and have a history of the cardiovascular system. So if you have, you can see this in swelling. Swelling sometimes can be caused from a lack of circulation. Well, this is all tied into the cardiovascular system, the very, very intricate body. So lipotropic adjunct in homocysteine. Homocysteine is a potent oxidant, which is usually converted to harmless products. But if the cycle is interrupted or clogged, you can see by the picture down there, excess homocysteine builds up to toxic levels, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. And it does in a couple different ways. It damages the artery walls, which if you think about it, if you put continuous fat down your sink drain, what happens? Eventually, you got to open it up. You got to get in there, and either you have to add an emulsifier agent, or if it gets really bad, you got to call a plumber to actually clean out the clog, depending on where the clog is. Same concept with our body. Also, oxidizing blood lipid, that's just your blood fats. LDL, which is the really, really bad fats or the bad cholesterol, leading to plaque buildup along the artery walls. So again, fats to a certain degree we need, but too much, it can wreak havoc on the body.
So I'm going to continue from here. So if you have the most common cause of the high homocysteine levels, is usually a deficiency in one of the nutrients which participate in the homocysteine cycle. That be the choline, inositol, folic acid, B6, B12, and betaine. So the lipotropic adjunct that Neolife covers actually has all these nutrients in the ready-to-absorb form. So, and of course, a diet low in saturated fat and high in omega-3s and fibers helps as well. Some of the food sources you're going to get for lipotropic would be in the choline, for example, is found in foods such as egg yolks, organ meats, soybeans, and fish. The inositol you're going to get from foods such as beans, brown rice, nuts, meats, and whole grains. And of course, the B vitamins and all that as well. So next picture, this is kind of a cool picture I found that kind of breaks down the homocysteine molecule itself. So you can kind of see how everything ties together there. So basically what the point of this is when you have elevated homocysteine levels in the body, that's going to increase your risk for the cardiovascular disease.
And just so you can see, circulating immune cells, guess what? They're in there. They're out there looking for foreign invaders. And if we restrict the flow, they can't do their job. And then we end up with other chronic illness and disease, which heart attack, they actually said in several studies that you will not know there is something wrong for quite some time if you have this buildup. And a lot of times you're going to see the chest pain. You're going to eventually have a heart attack, which leads to failure. So again, it leads to bigger, worse problems.
And this is the supplement facts for the lipotropic adjunct. Serving size 2 to 4 tablets a day. You can see all the B6 is in there, the folate, the B12, which is over 4,000% of the daily value, which is outstanding. Choline and inositol, the betaine has bioflavonoids and hesperidin. So basically, you want the choline and inositol to help keep the fats emulsified in the bloodstream, help keep things flowing, reduce the buildup of unwanted fat in the liver, so you don't get that fatty liver disease. The folic acid and B6 and B12 come into play for metabolizing the homocysteine. They're involved in that homocysteine cycle. So you need that to support the antioxidant response to the LDL cholesterol, so that doesn't creep up too high. The betaine works in conjunction with the B12, and the hesperidin and the bioflavonoids support overall product effectiveness. So they're just kind of supplemental parts that make it work even better.
So the question we get all the time is, well, what is the difference between lipotropic and lecithin? Well, both of them are just as important. Lipotropic more works on the emulsification. So it's constantly adding that emulsifier agent to your body. So you keep things constantly moving. Lecithin, it breaks it up and keeps it moving. So can you take both lipotropic and lecithin at the same time? Yes, you can. It's just going to help one another, because if you think about your body and its processes, it doesn't only just create lecithin, but it also doesn't create just lipotropic. If you're just, looking at budget side, the lecithin is cheaper. And honestly, I have seen tremendous impacts when we're specifically targeting the liver. But that's not to say the lipotropic isn't going to work. They both work on the same facets, that they both unblock the plaque, they emulsify the fats, they get things moving. But again, the lecithin is more for breaking it up initially. But again, if you have an agent that breaks it up and flushes it out, it's about the equivalent of breaking it up and then turning on the water. In essence, if you've got free-flowing things, the lipotropic is just the water continually pushing it through with a little bit of that cleaning agent in. So it's residual soap continually scrubbing the plaque. So now we're going to go into the fill in the blank. Go ahead and grab those. Yeah. Okay, and then here we go. Go ahead.
So number one, it's a great B vitamin for pregnant moms. You get that folic acid in there. That's really helpful when you're pregnant. So that's number one, is pregnant.
Number two is tremendous vitamin B for the cardiovascular system. And again, it emulsifies the bloodstream and gets things moving, which we all need. If you're sitting too much, if you're eating too fatty foods, yes, HDL is the good helper fat. LDL is the bad one. If you eat too many saturated and trans fats, now trans fats are still phasing out. They still exist. So if we've had unhealthy diets, we can all use that extra help to emulsify and get our bodies to its tip-top shape.
Number three, a fantastic nutrient for energy. Again, partly because of the B vitamins in there. are great
And the
for energy.
flavonoids, you got the flavonoids, you got a little bit of everything in there. Number 4, wonderful nutrients for helping with dieting and speeding up the metabolism, because again, it's helping break up the gunk, get things out of the poop shoop, as I say, and it makes things just free flowing. So what's really cool is if you have a low metabolism, which as we age, we do, even hypothyroid, this is definitely tremendous to help in assisting the body.
It's also good, another side note here, for circulation to the scalp. So if you have thinning hair or you have hair falling out, it can actually probably help with that.
Well, if you think about it, it said stroke. Stroke is clots in the brain. So if we're cutting off circulation and oxygen and the nutrients to the brain, not going to help with the hair. Helps produce milk from pregnant moms.
And it's incredible to block the chromosomes for hereditary diseases.
And again, because of the B vitamins, which are especially important for nerves, carpal tunnel and nerve repair, things like, well, it's a medical term, but it's fibromyalgia. So again, those are just issues that the body can have, and it helps to deal with those. A lot of times with the nerve issues, there's inflammation or there's blockages. Sometimes, again, carpal tunnel is just overuse. So you've got a lot of inflammation going on there. So